Is it just me, or have the vibes been a little off lately in LA? Whew.
In this video, let's review why 2023 has been making LA feel like the upside down. From the rising issues, weird weather, but also showing how this could be paving the way for rejuvenation. Is LA worth it right now? Well,
This is not smog. This is fog. You can't see a thing. You can't see a thing. The ocean's over there. We got Wilshire, Hollywood sign, downtown LA, all covered up. No sun, no fun. Can we talk about this winter? And listen, I don't mean to complain. I'm a native New Yorker here. I have faced the winters, but I didn't move here for this.
the 2022 to 2023 season has been the wettest in 18 years in LA. Since July 1st until currently in March, 24 inches of rain have fallen on downtown LA, more than double that of last season as a whole. And not only has it rained, but LA County and Southern California also faced two back-to-back historic snowstorms in February, including a very rare flurry at the Hollywood sign. So, is this a rare but cyclical occurrence, or is this climate change? Well, according to the LA Times, the storms had more to do with the temperature difference between the North Pole and the equator and the rotation of the Earth rather than human forces. However, that doesn't mean that climate change won't have a huge effect on LA and the world in the coming decades, with more sudden stratospheric warming set to occur more frequently.
Gloom and doom, rain, blizzard warnings, cold temperatures. It's like a New York winter here in LA. I know this is all actually good news for the region because California is in a significantly severe drought. So if we have to put up with this for the sake of the climate, let's do it. I'm all for it. But in that case, if LA is becoming another Seattle, we need to tone it down on the expenses here a little bit.
It's becoming increasingly more and more expensive to live in Los Angeles. LA just recently became the fourth most expensive city to live in the world, tied with Hong Kong. And a $100,000 salary feels like just $44K, in other words, under the national average income. So with taxes and cost of living so high, is the city's infrastructure and rising issues being solved?
That sunshine tax we pay was not utilized accordingly this year, and it still isn't. And because of all these crazy storms, the potholes in this city have been awful. To the point where my tires got so damaged, I had to shell out cash to repair them. And now I feel like I'm constantly dodging potholes everywhere I drive, like I'm in Mario Kart. Ooh, pothole, pothole, pothole. And speaking of car troubles, can we talk about how crazy drivers here are in LA? This is definitely not anything new, but I feel like people have been especially unhinged with their driving lately. So when I was relaxing in the snow in Mount Baldy in my last video, I was totally feeling like a little kid again. But I quickly became an adult again on that Friday, March 3rd, because a lot happened that day that signaled a return to not only adulthood, but adulthood in Los Angeles. So first, when I was driving home, a lady bashed right into me as she was merging into my lane and my car. So not only is this adding an extra headache, huge shout out to the driver behind her who provided me with the dash cam footage, but it's making me afraid to drive in LA recently. There are a lot of people who need to retake their driving tests here because this is the second accident I've had where the other driver was being completely silly.
The problem with the increasingly dangerous roads in LA is that there's not really an alternative unless you're willing to give up time and convenience. See, the LA Metro is operational and the city is investing billions of dollars towards expanding the trains, buses, and even bike systems, but it remains under-effective and in many cases, unsafe. Drug use is rampant on the Metro currently. According to an article by the LA Times, I'll link it below for credit, a train operator stated the following: "We don't even see any business people anymore. We don't see anybody going to Universal. It's just people who have no other choice than to ride the system, homeless people, and drug users." Crime, drug use, and overdoses are happening at record amounts. Since January of 2023, 22 people have died on the trains due to overdoses, and that's more than all of 2022. So, with being such a large city and expensive nonetheless, it's becoming more of a serious issue that residents can't even feel comfortable riding the metro system.
Ooh, the sun is peeking out. It's been days. By the way, just look at this flooding. This is crazy. These are the Venice canals, not the street. This is literally a river. Like, what is going on? It does seem that LA is becoming more and more expensive, and with the lack of good weather, the illusion is dying, and the realities are starting to reveal itself. So look, homelessness has always been a problem in LA, but it's been increasing more and more over the years, especially since the pandemic began. Homelessness is a very complicated topic. It's not just about providing shelter and funding to get someone back on their feet. There is mental health issues, drug problems, etc. And I'm not going to review the overall issues right now, but it's not difficult to see that it remains a huge problem, especially here in Los Angeles. Residents have even reported that areas that typically didn't have homeless encampments before, think Beverly Hills and Brentwood, now do. So this incident happened to me on that same Friday, March 3rd, where a lady merged into my car. So yes, I was having a bad day. I was headed over to downtown LA to go to a comedy show with my friends at the Ace Hotel, and I parked my car in an attended parking lot, meaning I paid $25 for it. And as I'm waiting in my car, because I had some time to kill, I'm parked in the back corner. I hear a bang on my trunk, and I'm like, what the hell was that? I look in my rearview mirror, I see a man wrapped in a blanket, like duck down. I turn my car on so he knows I'm there, and then I see him run away, like out of the parking lot. And I'm just sitting there frozen, like, oh my God, was that guy just crawling under my car? And then a minute goes by and I peek over and I see him looking over, just staring at me. And I'm like terrified. And then he runs away for good. That's pretty much the end of that story. But what I'm saying here is that it's pretty common now to not only see homelessness or hear about it, but to start really feeling it in your everyday life. And you feel helpless. It's sad, but in a way, it feels like it's becoming dangerous. So what is this city doing about it? Mayor Karen Bass declared a state of emergency in December 2022. The U.S. Department of Housing and Development gave LA a $60 million grant to curb the amount of encampments in the city. That's probably enough of this topic for now because it's pretty depressing. Let's take it on a lighter note to what's been rejuvenating LA lately. And it starts with reality TV drama.
Ariana Madix and Tom Sandoval are done. She pulled the plug on their 9-year relationship after finding out Tom was having a 6-month-long affair with their friend and fellow co-star Raquel Leves.
Even if you're not really into gossip and drama-based TV, Vanderpump Rules honestly is too good to pass up. And now I'm in probably the most famous landmark here in Los Angeles, the backlot of SUR, aka where all of the drama happened in Vanderpump Rules. So this very LA show with some very stereotypical LA people overtook the spotlight again. I don't need to go over the details of what happened because this has been featured pretty much in every news station. Wild. But the reason I bring it up, and this topic is more of a joke, by the way, as it's, well, TV, and it's not affecting any of us in LA except for the castmates, but maybe it's a sign that LA is becoming rejuvenated. Literally.
Ron, we're going to see a waterfall.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
There is a lot of water here.
Usually this hike is very dry. Woo. I can't do it. This is not the hike I remember. It's flooded, very green, and everything feels a little like a mess.
You're a mess.
Thank you. Michael, show us how it's done.
Drop my camera.
Okay, now I've got Michael's camera and I'm going to drop it.
You're a mess.
Look! He's soaking wet.
Well, you're not wearing the right shoes. This is the new LA, Rohan. The rivers here are running. This is the biggest waterfall I've ever seen in LA. I feel like I'm on a tropical vacation. See, I've done this hike like maybe 3 times, and I've always thought it was a boring hike until today. We have rivers, waterfalls, lizards, treacherous up climbs. Right, Elise?
Oh, yeah.
What are we doing?
It's not easy. It's not easy being an adventurer.
It's not easy living in California in winter of 2023.
Imagination. And we have a waterfall.
Usually it's just a little dribble, but this is a real waterfall. The city is healing. Reporting live from the second waterfall at Escondido Falls.
With such a strange winter in Los Angeles this year, the illusion has started to fade just a bit, revealing itself to be, well, just another big city with big problems. But just like anything in life, we have to go through the bad, the uncomfortable, and the problems to really appreciate the good days the best we can. And with all this rain and snow this year, at least the drought is diminishing, and I think we're up for a really beautiful spring. Greenery, waterfalls, super blooms, cleaner air. And no, I'm not saying nature is going to cure any other major issues mentioned in this video, but no matter how moody we might get from everything going on where we live, well, the sun will come up. Eventually. How is it raining again? It's March 21st. Let's check the weather forecast. Wait a second. Is that 8 days of sunshine coming up in a row? I think that means that
California is back.